when are you including that into your are you planting that seed at what stage when you see the customer? From the time you meet the customer to the time the customer walks out, when are you planting the seed?
Usually right at the start of the application.
Okay, all right. Yeah. And you plant it by saying, and you can protect yourself for a few dollars a week. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, more or less, depending on what your budget is per week, there are ways to protect your loan and the asset as well. We can talk about that in a bit more detail if you like. But yeah, there's, these products are added into your loan for X amount of, don't call it, not a few dollars extra per week, because they might want it, depending on what level of cover they want. You just sort of say, for a little bit extra, you can give yourself a good level of protection.
Okay.
Yeah. It sort of depends on what the customer. It depends on how the customer presents to you as to how you drop it to them.
Okay. And when you move from the application, when's the next point of contact that you have between yourself and that customer when they come in? So obviously you're telling me that you're getting an hour's notice.
We call them as soon as the loan's approved.
Mm-hmm.
And so look, next step is we'll get the salesperson or delivery coordinator to give you a call and organise, their handover time and date.
And then you don't know what's going to happen until an hour before the delivery, is that right?
In most cases, yeah. Organisation's pretty poor at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're happy to take more charge on delivery coordination.
Yeah. I think, okay, look, it's not my place to come in and say what your process in terms of that side of things should be, because there's a whole heap of other stakeholders and my experience is, unless that's something that your dealer principal or your general sales manager or whoever wants to change, you just stay out of that space. But in whatever environment that you work in, you can have more control. And the way that you get that more control is through that really tight communication with your team. So you have to really understand that your goals can only be achieved through your team. And so just, and as a business manager, you can drive that communication in the team at the start of the day. You can drive a sales meeting. You can drive the direction of because if you can control that back end on the ones that you are converting, you're going to make so much more money. I'm going to send you a form which most of the dealerships should have, because it has been adopted, and you'll see this at the conference. The process that I've created has been adopted across all of Brendan's businesses as the process that is best practice.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just ask, when is your customer getting a product disclosure statement for the products you're trying to sell?
Application stage.
What, are you just handing them to them?
Oh, we talk about them and then just say, and we sort of pinpoint the highlights in the PDF. And so give that sort of next up with their copy of the contract, receipt, and the credit guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, you're giving them a PDF that you're printing off the Swan system. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got an old Swan multi-product PDFs that used to be, they used to sort of let us use. But yeah, for the most part, it's just printing off the system and giving the info to go away.
Okay. All right. So here's your first actual real concrete tweak I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
And this just relates to the ones that you're actually converting. Brendan, look, fantastic. I'm going to go into this kind of a role play with you now. Brendan, fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get that loan approved for you. Now, as I said before, your payments are going to vary between $230 to $240 a week, just depending on how it comes back. In the meantime, while I'm getting you approved, I'll as soon as I've got that approval for you, Brendan, I'll flick you an email so that everything we discussed today you've got in writing, so that you've got everything that you need to bring with you in writing. It's just easy because if the car takes a week to get here, it's just an easy little list that you can tick off. Yep. So it'll tell you about bringing in your pay slips and whatnot. I'll also send you some information with some cool little links just about all of our different protection options. Most of our customers obviously protect themselves, in case some jerk runs into you at the roundabout and you have a write-off and you owe more money than what you get paid out, or you get a mechanical bill that you weren't expecting. You obviously can protect yourself. I'll flick you through some information and I'll call you when I've got the approval.
Okay.
Very, very short, sharp, to the point. Now, depending on the qualification that I've done with the customer is the little seeds that I'm going to plant for where I think I'm going to go to maximise not only my income, but to obviously assist my customer based on, while I'm not giving them specific financial advice, I am thinking about their needs, okay? Because I'm going to understand from my qualification questions in the application, and we'll go through how to actually do an application that maximises your service to the customer and the income that you earn, understands where you're going to go in that particular sale. And every single transaction that you do, not just the finance, but also the cash, you're looking for your opportunities. And when I say opportunities, it's a two-way street. It's not just about extracting as much dollars from them, but it's also about helping your customer by understanding their needs. And all customers, whether they're the little old lady or someone who's using your finance, they all have their own needs, and you can help every single one of them. And if you start with that mindset, you'll automatically add another $200 to your PVR like that. Okay, so I've got some materials. I'm planting the seed that I'm going to send you, and I've got a checklist. And next week we're going to work through that checklist and how that checklist is going to seriously increase your bottom line. Okay. Because one of the other fundamental things that I can tell just from talking to you that's not happening is if you're not having an organised delivery, you're missing a super crucial step. And let me explain it this way. I've met you and I've planted the seed really well. Okay, so I've done my job. And then I call you up and say, great, you're approved. They'll tell you when you're going to get your car delivered. Fantastic. And they order a car in, and 2.5 weeks later, it arrives in your dealership just for end of month. You've got a whole heap of deliveries on. You've been told an hour beforehand, hey, this customer's come in. You've been really organised. You've organised an options letter before that, so that's all cool. You see the customer. I haven't spoken to that customer since I told them 24 hours after I met them the first time. I haven't shown any interest in you at all. I've just, you're approved. Cool, great. Come in. Let's sign some documents. Hey, by the way, for an extra couple of dollars, do you want to go for this product? There's a better way of doing it, and it's about building a relationship along the way. It's about being as organised as possible and picking up those cues, because the crucial step that you're missing, on one of them, is that 24-hour beforehand call. Because while that customer's you've only got an hour's notice for that delivery, which is insane, that customer has known about that delivery for at least 24 hours, because otherwise, how would they organise to get into the dealership if they were cash? How would they organise to pick up their bank check? How would they, most of them are sitting there shitting their pants thinking, oh crap, I've got to get insurance. Hun, make sure you get insurance tonight. Yeah, let's go on our ACQ online. Do you understand what's happened? And you've got an hour and then you're trying to upsell. Yeah. It's not going to work, and it reflects in your figures. It's not going to work, because what's going to invariably happen is they come in and you hit them up for loan protection. They've maybe had a look at the PDS that you've given them, and my experience is if you're giving out in paper form, not everyone gets one, because you've got to print them off and you might not have any left, or the customer walks out without it. So you haven't got a real good guarantee there, fail-safe, that every 100% customer is getting one. Then they don't generally sit down and read the whole thing. And they really, if they've come home with a whole heap of papers and thrown them in the bin or in the backseat of their trade-in car, and you say, that document I gave you, they don't remember because it was all a whirlwind. They don't know what you're talking about, really. And then here's this person that they haven't spoken to for 3 weeks, and you're saying, do you want to, hey, that payment I told you was $230, do you want to make it $238 now and add in this, or do you want to make it $250 and have all of this stuff in it? And they've really not taken the time to process it, and you haven't set it up. When you go through your options, and you're going through options on delivery, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Does every customer sign an options letter?
Yes.
Okay. Does every cash customer sign an options letter?
No.
Okay.
Not everyone, no.
Add another $200 in your PVR right there.
Yeah.
In the material I'm going to send you will be where a cash customer must sign a cash options letter.
Yeah.
Because if you try and aim for your PBR on cash customers, and if you are in a market where you do have a big deal of cash customers, if we take a two-pronged approach and teach you how to convert your cash customers so that your elderly people do, and look, a classic proponent is the group finance manager here, who I taught and who Bruce knows very well, has great mindset. We had a customer who told one of our business managers 3 times, no, I don't want your finance. I'm paying this $100,000 Land Rover off out of my super. But through some diligence and communication and building relationships and all the tenets of salesmanship, she's actually converted them and gained $100,000 in income. So you will get those extra conversions, but you'll also get that extra warranty conversion as well with your cash options letter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my recommendations to Bruce is that and you'll find that he would have implemented this anyway, because it is across a lot of your other group dealerships, is that your administration people who process the deal won't pay commission or will probably deduct a certain amount if they can't see an options letter. And there's a couple of really important points as to why that's following my process and having these things in your deal pack is important. Number one, it's for meeting your statutory legal requirements under the code. You'll find that following my process ticks that off really well. It's about fairness and ethics to the client, and it's about making sure that we follow that 300% rule.
Yeah.
So going back to that crucial step, here it is. Knowing that you've got a delivery on the next day and preparing for your following day's deliveries the day before. And only doing on-the-spot deliveries in conjunction with your sales manager approving it with your knowledge and enough time where you say, yeah, okay, all right, I can do that because I have to follow this critical step. But I signed them up this morning and I get that you're trying to get it out for in advance. So yeah, okay, I get that. So having those 1 hour notice deliveries, they are going to happen. It's a realistic world we live in, but they're not going to happen very often, maybe 2 or 3 a month. Yep. The rest of them, you need to find a way to be in communication so that you can call the customer, because this is the minimum level of communication that you should have. Meet them before the test drive because you're out on the floor. Your test drive form should be your bastion or your backstop that captures most of them if you've missed something. Yep. Then you should be involved in some sunset calls. Do you guys do sunset calls in the afternoon?
What was that, sorry?
Sunset calls every afternoon?
Never heard of that before.
Okay. All right. So if I come in the dealership in the morning and, you've had a chat to me or whatever, and then I go home, I haven't come back in, about 4 o'clock, your sales manager will be starting to make those calls to see how they went for the day. you should be involved in that sunset call process, because it could be a payment related thing, because that customer might have gone away, not told you anything because they don't want to be harassed, but they're going and they're waiting for a loan to be approved, or they're waiting for this or that. So being involved in that sunset call process and helping your sales manager make his sunset calls, because if he's had 9 people for the day and only sold 2 cars, that's 7 calls he's got to make. If you sit down with him and go, hey mate, do you want me to help you make your sunset calls? Because he should be making those calls so that he knows that there isn't anything that, he can do that day to turn that walk into a sale and get his closing ratio up. So you would find, if you went to your sales manager, hopefully, that at about 4 o'clock, that's when he's starting to do that sunset call process. Yep. And being involved with that will also help. Yep. But you've got the application, or you haven't, either way. What you say to whether a cash customer or a finance customer is you're planning the appropriate seeds. So for your cash customers, it'll be insurance and warranty and all of that. For your finance customers, it'll be your loan protection and whatnot. You send them an email. And one of the really cool things about the Swan Ignite system, because you're all using Swan now, yeah? One of the really cool things is there's actually some links. So I'm going to forward you some emails that I used to send. There's actually links to the products on there, so you can actually show little videos, etc., of the products. Mine might be broken because it's been a while since I've been a BM, but you will find those links. So you can actually say, have a look at this particular product, have a look at this particular product. You send your financial services guide. So you've actually got a record that goes in the deal pack that you've sent an FSG. You send your product disclosure statements for all the relevant, because the legislation, as you should know, says that as soon as practicable after you discuss a particular product, you must supply the customer with a product disclosure statement to consider. Yep. So you send the relevant product disclosure statements. Now, you might have a max lend where you can't fit loan protection in, so you're not going to send the loan protection statement, product disclosure statement, are you? Because that's going to cause problems if they want it. So you send what you've got them approved for. Yeah. You get them approved for the maximum amount. You're doing that at the start? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you send that email through. Now, the next minimum point of contact is this. Now, if you've got a customer on a long order, call them every month. Make sure you keep in touch with them so that Eddie the expert at the barbecue hasn't said, no, don't go to the dealership, go here. You have that relationship with them. But if it's just a 1-week delivery or whatever, you call them the day before, and this is the call. Hi, Brendan. It's Tammy calling from Toowoomba Motor Group. How are you going?
Oh, really good, thanks, Tammy. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, listen, Brendan, just following up. Obviously, it's exciting times tomorrow, so you've got your delivery happening tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I'm just following up on that email I sent you, with all of the different options that we have and everything that you need to bring. So you've got everything that you need to bring, your pay slips and your banking details, etc.
Yeah, got all that.
Okay, fantastic. Now, obviously, Brendan, it is part of my duty of care. I do need to go through your protection options, as I said at the start and in the email. So I am going to need an hour of your time tomorrow, as I said to you when I signed you up. So just to make sure that we go through all your different insurance options, etc. Okay. Now, in that conversation, they're going to tell you how you're going to sell to them, because they're going to say a number of things. They're going to say, no, it's okay, I don't need that, just have my documentation ready, I'm not taking any of that shit, or no, it's okay, I've got my insurance, I've called RACQ. If they say that, because remember, you're doing this for a cash customer as well as a finance customer, you go, oh, RACQ, okay, fantastic. What did they offer you? And then they'll tell you, oh, I got a really good deal, I got $400 and it includes this. And then you can turn around and plan a seed. Which comprehensive are you using?
Suncorp.
What do you actually? That's the one I missed. What do you actually convert in motor vehicle?
Oh, motor vehicle. Oh yeah, it'd be close to that. It'd be very close to 50, if not more.
Okay, fantastic. So you go. Oh, we've got the Suncorp rating one for life. Well, we've also got everything to protect your tyres. So look, when I see you tomorrow, go through it for you. Only need a little bit of your time, but it is really important because we want to make sure that obviously when you pick your new car up, that nothing goes wrong and you're fully protected where you need to be. So I'll see you tomorrow at 11.
Okay.
Okay. Now that phone call is critical for a number of reasons. And when I've rolled this process out to people, I probably put 70% of the time when the business manager's not getting the results that I've promised them, it's because if we drill down into it, that call's not being made, because that call tells you who your competition is, what your potential objections are, so you can start mentally preparing and have your questions ready, and your objection handling will go through a proper objection handling process as well. It also tells you, it gives the customer the courtesy of making sure they really understand the time that you're going to spend with them and what you're going to do, so that when you come in at the back end and you start trying to upsell, you don't have a customer on this side of the fence going, "What are you doing? Let me have my car." Because they haven't understood that that's the process, because it hasn't really been communicated to them. But if you communicate that to them, you're going to bring that, bring their walls down a little bit, because they know that this is part and parcel, that they have to do this, instead of, yeah, hurry up, give me the documents, I want my car. Does that make sense? It'll prepare them and make it open for that. Okay. Finishing up, we're nearly at the end of our session here. I'm going to send you, this was just a broad brush, so it gives me an idea of where I need to focus, and we've got huge opportunities, as I kept saying. I'm going to send you a checklist. What I want you to do is just read that checklist and try and understand the steps, and to the best of your ability, try and follow it until our next following week. I'm also going to send you some, do you sell Loan Protection or Protection Plus?
Protection Plus. We've still got access to the Allianz Loan Protection product.
Okay, that's okay. I'll send you Protection. I've actually got some work I've done on Protection Plus. Fantastic product. Okay, if you're selling Protection Plus, you should be aiming for 60 to 65% conversion. It's awesome.
Okay.
And you really need to aim for that higher conversion, because you're not having, whereas my guys used to sell 35, 40% loan protection or even higher, where the policies were 15 grand. Your policies are capped, so that we need to aim for the 60 to 70%. There's easily from this conversation that the $1,000 extra a car, easily, in just these fundamental changes that we're going to implement. So you guys should be happy, because your income's about to double. I promise you.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to send you some information on the checklist, some planting the seed PDF documents that I have. I'll copy Bruce in on the email that I send you. I also highly recommend that some kind of scheme be brought in to make sure that every deal pack has a signed options letter from a customer, including cash, because you really want to, especially while you're building your skills in converting cash and converting from other places, you really want to be looking at making $300 a car off all of your cash customers as well. Rate on your used cars. We'll do some work on that. So we've got some work to do, but the excellent thing is you guys are going to be superstars if you honestly and truly adapt yourself to what we're going to embark upon. This is exciting. I love doing this. We'll make you some money, hey?
Let's do it again, sir.
Well, so why don't we? How does Wednesdays at 7 sound for you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. I might get you to send me some feedback through the week, and so you might get some random emails from me, and that's just so that I can start preparing. If you have any questions, I also want you to make a log for me and come up with some of your most common objections or your most common hurdles to some of your conversions, whether it be finance or loan protection or GAP, so that we can work through those as well. Can we work on being on the floor more? Can you try that? I just want you to make a conscious effort to get up out of your desk, because honestly, you realistically, and Bruce can back me up, this is not, I've got no special ability over anybody else. One thing I always made sure I did was my work straight away, get it done, and then get out of my office, because the less time I spend in my office, the more money I make. Okay, it's very proportionate. So out on the floor, asking customers for coffee, integrating yourself into the sales process. So you get along well with your sales manager. How about your sales team?
Work in progress.
Okay, all right.
We haven't had an actual stable sales team since there's people just coming and going. We've had a roll through about 8 or 9 people in the last probably 5 months. So it's definitely a work in progress.
Okay, all right.
And salespeople and sales managers.
Salespeople and sales managers. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, whoever's on the ground at the day is the lay of the land that you've got to work with. So building that bridge with them is super, super important. Now, it's a fine balance. I'll tell you, if I've got enough time, I might cut out. If I do, I apologise.
Okay.
I went into this dealership once that was petrified of the business manager, because the previous business manager was really good friends with the eccentric owner and got them in trouble all the time. They were scared to come to my desk, and there was this huge divide between sales and finance.
Yeah.
And when I first started inveigling myself into their sales process, I remember this one guy, he was so it was like, for want of a better term, F off, mate. Seriously, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It just took me to help him close his first deal for him to start opening that bridge. How many finance closes do you do, like where you get involved in your close on payment on average a week?
The majority of the finance deals are closed on finance most of the time. Yeah.
Okay, so the majority of your conversions are when you come in and close it based on payments.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. All right, so you are really, okay, so now what you've got to do is get involved in their sales process. Now, here's the big thing. Get involved in their sales process regardless of what's in it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so regardless if it's a cash customer, you know how sometimes they go, oh, it's Betty Boop and she's 97 and she's paying from her retirement fund, and you almost go, ugh. And I've even had some business managers on delivery, they go, oh, take the bank check, bring me the deal pack when it's done. Okay, but that's how much they distance themselves. So you really need to get involved in that process regardless of whether it's cash, finance, and get present on the floor. Because here's the scary thing, guys. You're doing a number of finance closes when they're obviously getting you in and saying, hey, help, this is a finance close. How many do you think you might be missing because you're not out there?
Oh,
you wouldn't know, would you?
Well, I don't know. It's not so much not out there. It's like we don't just sit in the office all day. I mean, we might spend 10 minutes in the office and get up and have a walk around, look at the floor.
Okay.
All right. It's not. We're not stale in our office, withering away, getting fat, and doing nothing.
Okay. So you are on the floor, because when I spoke to you at the start, you said you spend the majority of your time in your office.
Well, you could say that just because there's no traffic. So there's just not enough traffic, and it's not. I suppose there's no way to justify.
Where's your service department?
It's on another site. It's about 3 blocks away.
3 blocks. Oh, is it walking distance?
Oh, it'll be about a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk. Yeah.
What DMS do you use? Do you use units?
Say it again.
What DMS do you use? Units or Era?
Don't use one. We don't have one.
Are you on manual contracts?
Everything's paper, yeah. Which is, again, 90% of the problem. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on paper contracts, that's okay. But you have a service department?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Again, there's some opportunity there, especially for you, Brendan, with seeing 20 customers. Your service department is a huge way that you can actually help drive your income as well, especially if it's only 3 blocks away and it's not busy. Do you have cordless phones, mobile phone?
We've got a cordless phone that has about a 10-metre radius,
I don't have a cordless phone, which is why I'm in my office most of the time.
and we're on like ADSL internet. Even though it's pretty.
Okay. All right. Look, there's heaps of stuff that we can do there, guys. There's heaps of stuff that we can. I'll give you a classic example. When we were slow in one dealership, well, all of the dealerships I've been in, I'd go out and meet my service customers, sell warranty, and I'd also sell cars from there and bring the cars in. How do you contact your internet leads? When do you get your internet leads?
There is no internet lead
We don't
system.
get internet leads, and we barely get phone leads as well.
Yeah.
You what?
There's no internet lead system, and we're supposed to have someone sitting at the reception all the time, but that's never.
But you have cars on the internet?
We do, yeah.
Ah, that's the easiest thing in the world to get to an internet lead system. I've got a perfect word tracker to get you in first and get you some finance there. That's the easiest fix in the world. So we can do that because that's a huge source. If you are in a cash-centric business, then obviously your biggest opportunity is when people from outside call in. I've been a business manager at Centenary Taringa, very, very difficult chair, and the way I made it work was with my internet leads. So the more I talk to you, the more opportunity I see, guys. So this is really exciting. I think I've said that about 20 times, so I'll stop now.
Okay.
I'll send you some emails, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 7 a.m.
Okay.
with a video camera.
Yes.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye.